Sir, were you familiar with the underlying facts of what happened here?
I'm familiar that he pulled out a gun and discharged it up in the air.
Were you familiar that it's also alleged that he was pointing the gun at people who was pregnant?
All right, everyone, buckle in, because this case is a wild collision between faith, fear, and a firearm. Today, we're stepping inside a Texas courtroom where a man prays in church as a gentle caregiver is being portrayed by neighbors as an armed danger who push a community to the breaking point. We've got conflicting testimonies, emotional pleas, and a judge who has zero patience for nonsense. And the twist? One document sitting in front of Judge Boyd is about to change everything. As you watch, ask yourself, is this a good man who snapped or a threat who finally got caught? Let's get into it.
2024 CR 006879, State of Texas versus Stephen Allen Raleigh. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state? Defense.
Brandon Lopez for Mr. Raleigh.
And are you Mr. Raleigh? All right. Have both parties had a chance to review the PSI report? State?
Yes.
Defense?
We have, Your Honor.
Any objections, state? Defense?
No objections, Your Honor.
And according to the plea, punishment is to be assessed at a cap of 6 years in the prison. The state is silent on your applications. There's an affirmative finding of a deadly weapon, and the state is taking some cases into consideration, and there's to be restitution to some of the complainants. All right, state, do you have any witnesses? Defense, do you have witnesses?
We have one witness, Your Honor.
All right, you may call your witness.
Defense calls Aaron Zamora.
Yes. Cap of 7.
Okay, sorry. I thought I-
Oh, okay. In case I did, it's a cap of 7. All right. All right, can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give would be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I affirm, yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand if you'll state your name for the record.
Aaron Zamora.
All right, defense?
Mr. Zamora, how do you know Stephen Raleigh and his family?
I know Stephen and his faithful mother, Sister Riley, through Church of Christ, Wall Street Church of Christ. She has been a faithful member, attending twice on Sundays and on Wednesdays. And Stephen has also attended. I was surprised. That's how I know that.
And so you're a minister at the church?
Yes, one of the ministers.
And when you heard about the charges that were leveled against Mr. Riley, were you surprised?
I was very surprised.
And why were you surprised?
He's known the gospel. He's a Christian. He has been baptized back in about 12 years old or so. He knows what right and wrong. I think he was foolish in what he did. He was a stupid act. I didn't realize. He didn't realize. I don't think he realized the impact of his actions.
Speaking of the impact of his actions, obviously it impacted the victims, but how has that also impacted Stephen's family?
He is lives with his mother. He has a son. His son's mother works, so the little guy stays with Sister Shirley. She is disabled. She's on a walker, and so he assists her with taking care of the little boy and helping her with getting her.
This moment right here is critical. Notice how the judge is drilling into the heart of the issue, not the church attendance, not the character letters, not the regrets after the fact, but the escalation. What started as neighbors calling police somehow became an armed confrontation. And legally, that jump is everything. In Texas, simply displaying a gun in a threatening manner can instantly elevate a situation into aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, even if no bullet hits anyone. The defense is doing damage control by framing it as fear and poor judgment, but the judge isn't buying broad excuses. She wants a clear explanation. How did a noise complaint turn into a gun being drawn? And here's a question for you. Do you think fear justifies drawing a weapon in a neighborhood argument, or is that crossing a line that can't be walked back?
Get as a mentor, be there for him, and be able to maybe teach him more about the right, wrong, what the Word of God says when we encounter difficulties in our communities, violence, etc. Act in an appropriate Christian way.
Thank you, Pastor. Pass the witness.
Any questions?
Sir, were you familiar with the underlying facts of what happened here?
I'm familiar that he pulled out a gun and discharged it up in the air.
Were you familiar that it's also alleged that he's pointing the gun at people when he was pregnant.
I think he was waving the gun, for my understanding.
But again, the stipulations are with the judge right now, it showed that he pointed the gun. Are you aware of that?
Not pointing directly to a person. I don't think he would be close enough to point and to shoot at someone. Probably waving it, probably.
So it, again, you weren't there,
Nope.
but you're all just hearing the second hand from us.
Yes.
All right, nothing to say.
All right, any other questions?
No other questions, John.
Thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
coming in.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Judge.
So, if you come forward. All right, so this is what I'm reading in the PSI report. And it's with regards to the complainants. And they're saying that they're okay with him being given probation. They just don't want him around them anymore. Did I misread that?
I believe there's a second or
Okay,
Be on page 4.
page 4.
Other an argument, Your Honor, if at an appropriate time.
Okay, I'm
No other
here
witnesses.
unless there are other witnesses. All right, the court will hear argument.
Your Honor, we're here today. Mr. Riley is taking full responsibility for what the events that happened. In various discussions with Mr. Riley, he's characterized this as the worst day of his life. He obviously reacted in the worst possible way. He put himself in danger. He put other people in danger, namely the victims. And as a result, he's been here for 6 months. He's never spent any extended amount of time incarcerated. He's from Alabama, but he's lived in San Antonio for about 15 years. Again, he has no previous felony convictions. His highest level of education is 10th grade. He's always had steady work, whether it was Home Depot, Sam's, Chili's, and most recently acting as a security guard 3 months prior to this event. He does primarily take care of his child, the 3-year-old who lives with him and his mother. These last 6 months, he's been unable to provide. He's been unable to visit them. We had motions to reduce bond. We got those reduced, but they still couldn't come up with the money. So he's been here thinking and obviously regretting his actions and hoping and praying for an opportunity to prove to the court and prove to the state of Texas that he is capable of being a law-abiding citizen, to be monitored, and to follow the rules of this court. We are asking for deferred adjudication, Your Honor, and that opportunity.
All right, so what the court doesn't understand, I don't understand how you confronting a neighbor because they had called the police. One, I don't understand why you would go confront them, but I don't understand how that turns into the drawing of a gun. So,
And there it is, the final ruling. Instead of prison time, Stephen Raleigh walks away with 10 years of deferred adjudication, strict GPS monitoring, mental health treatment, a complete ban from his apartment complex, and a long list of conditions that leave almost zero room for error. Legally, this is a fascinating outcome. Prison would have given the community temporary distance, but deferred adjudication places Stephen under far stricter and far longer supervision. For a man with no prior felonies, this ruling reflects a balance between rehabilitation and public safety, but with a 20-year sentence waiting if he slips even once, the stakes couldn't be higher. So what do you think? Did the judge make the right call, or did Stephen just get the break of a lifetime?
the police, whether you think they called the police numerous times, rightly or wrong, how do we get to the point where you're charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon? How does that escalate to that point?
Your Honor, it's my understanding, and if you want me to answer or you want him to,
Sure.
it's my understanding that there was a feeling of being threatened, and there were several neighbors that were, gathering around him. And again, I think that it's good to preface this with right or wrong, and I think in this case, wrong. He brought a gun out, and obviously it led to where we're at. That was as poor of a judgment call as possible. Mr. Riley has relayed the same to me. And it led to here.
Okay. All right, and I do understand two of the complainants are saying they want him to have deferred adjudication. One complainant is saying they don't want him to have deferred adjudication. So I do take everything in consideration that I'm reading. The first complainant is saying, send him to prison because then they'll be assured that at least while he's in prison, they won't be back to the apartments, right? So if I were to send him to prison, I don't think people understand about the length of time that people are actually staying in prison. He would be eligible for parole within 3.5 years. If I were to place him on deferred adjudication for 10 years, then he would be under the court supervision for 10 years, unless I decided to, of course, if I'm still here, unless I decided to revoke him, or unless I decided to terminate him early, he would be under the court supervision for 10 years. He could be on GPS and not allowed to go to that location. So I'm balancing the weight of what the complainants are requesting, and I'm looking at his criminal history. His criminal history consists of possession of a marijuana, where he received 6 days in the Bexar County Jail. Then we have this. So I'll hear arguments, State.
State is silent.
Yeah.
I will say though, Judge, that again, based off stipulations, again, he brought a gun to where no one else was armed. He also shot as the police were approaching the house. Stipulations, again, danger to the community, including an argument between the group who had just reported his essay. That was what the issue was.
All right. Defense, the state is silent other than fact issues. So is there anything you wish to add?
I don't think there's anything further to clarify, Your Honor.
All right. So this is what I'll do. Mr. Rowley, I can sentence you to deferred adjudication, in which case it will be for the full 10 years. You will not be released from the Bexar County Jail today because I will be sentencing you to ISF, or I can sentence you to 5 years in the prison.